So with me and Solo Leveling Arise, of course this is my pay-to-win account, self-explanatory of course, and I am planning on doing a free-to-play account, but I want global to release just to see, well, just to see if I can get the best possible start, because I mean starting right now as it's the early access, I mean I feel like free-to-play is still doable, but I'd rather wait to have the best possible start in terms of the fixes and etc, you know. For the game to be polished out to have an actually good start, you know, and on top of that to get the pre-registration reward. I'm trying to maximize my start for being a free-to-play account. So with this account, I'm kind of using it as a bit of an information guide on what are the weapons I need to look out for. So obviously with the game itself, when people do start their account, people are going to be re-rolling, right? You want to start the account off in the best way possible. Now for me personally, I'm probably just going to go out my way and, you know, secure myself a character, because at the end of the day, yes, SSR weapons are good, and yes, they do give out the scythe for free, and you know, as time goes on, I'll probably get lucky with RNG. I'm content with the SR weapons themselves. These SR weapons are not to be slept on, and so if we're specifically looking at the weapons being SRs and targeting their typing, I've already got a few that I'm already working on, that I've locked off, that I used like beforehand when they're at level 20. Even some of them still being at level 20, they're still working fine. Obviously, I'm now starting to get them to the 40-60 region side of things, of course. But the SR weapons are not to be slept on. If you want to start your global account with a character and not concern yourself too much on the weapon side of things with the SSR specifically, and if you want to gradually get them over time with RNG and rely on the SRs, you can do so. So, with all that being said, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to let you guys know the specific SR weapons to invest in, to look into, and obviously if you do manage to pull when you start your account or whatever, right, don't sleep on these weapons. So I think the best thing to do is target the best weapon for their specific typing, because at the end of the day it will come down to the attributes on what we need for specific areas and bosses, etc. So we'll start things off where it all should be, where it's pretty much one of the top SR weapons. We'll do wind, and so with wind, I mean realistically there's not really that many of choices. You got a hammer, you got a dagger, and you got the sniper. I mean it's kind of self-explanatory. This sniper is coming out of the woodworks of being a phenomenal, probably one of the best, or if the best SR weapon in the game. I've only just started working on it. I'm pushing it to get to level 80. I think once I get it to level 80, I'll probably do a video on it so you guys can see what I mean. But if you are able to get dupes, and if you are able to get this sniper leveled up, it is a phenomenal weapon. And this is one of the weapons which, when I do start my free-to-play account, I am looking forward to. So the damage of it, it's disgusting in terms of the secret bullet. If you can get this bad boy up, it does hit really freaking hard. And then you got like dual wielding, which I wasn't expecting, because I thought it was just a full-on sniper that we would just hold. But no, there's dual wielding. But the core skill for this weapon hits like an absolute truck. And then of course if you are able to dupe it out, which I mean it's an SR weapon, so you might get lucky with some dupes of it. So if secret bullet hits when the target has no targets within a 5-meter range, increases the user's damage by 75%. So as long as you keep that range on it, boys, it is even more disgusting. Trust me. The effect of secret bullet change to a charging skill increases damage up to 160% depending on the charge time. So if you hold it down, there's a little bar that fills up. I mean, I'm probably putting up gameplay as I'm going through what these weapons are doing. So yeah, obviously for the wind typing, if enemies are don't have any, well, if they're weak to wind, this is the weapon to go for. When secret bullet hits, it applies west wind, which increases the damage of secret bullet by 30%, stacking up to 5 times. When secret bullet fails to hit, deletes all stacks. So as long as your aim is on point, each time you do the secret bullet shot whilst the enemy has the west wind debuff, more damage, more damage, more damage. It hits harder and harder and harder. It's so freaking good. And then if you manage to max it out when you land a crit, then your secret bullet basically decreases the cooldown on 9 seconds. As long as you can get it to +3, then you're maximizing your damage for this weapon, and it hits hard. This is one of the weapons which you want to prioritize and work on and hope and pray you get dupes for. So when it comes to wind damaged weapons, West Wind is where it's at. Now obviously with the gameplay West Wind I did use the bow. The bow is the lightning type's best SR weapon, of course. Obviously with early on, which a lot of people found, Igris being the first boss, he's weak to light. So when it comes to start my global account, I know what I'm going to be working on. The bow itself, even outside of the Igris, right, is actually extremely good. Again, another solid weapon in terms of damage, of course. So keeping it with the range, So yeah, a good amount of damage to start things off with the core damage of it, or the skill, should I say. So every time the arrow, the arrow or flash of light penetrates the target, it increases the user's damage by 4%. You can stack up to 20 times. There's no timer on that, so I mean, I'm not going to complain. Giving me a stack that I can just build up over time, that's yeah, no, that's something, you know, in terms of doing damage. And then of course once we start getting into the dupe side of things, you can ignore defense by 50%, and then you got the effect where you can stun. So the effects of flash of light changes. So when the shockwave or flash of light hits the target, are knocked back 3 meters and stunned. So you got stun. Not only are we building up our damage, not only are we ignoring defense to do a lot of damage whilst we're building up our damage, but we can now stun. Stun can go a lot of way to interrupt the enemy, to give you, you know, that slight upper hand. Not only that, if you maximize the weapon itself, if the enemy is stunned, then you'll get a 25% increase in damage to stun enemies. So helps you out in that department, of course. So again, with the lightning weapon, that is what we're looking for. Now, in terms of fire, it is going to be the Eye of Sauron. I've managed to max this out, so I am over the moon with this weapon. It was over. To be fair, this for my this, because I didn't have the Vulcan's club or Rage club, what you will. I didn't have that at the time, so I was really utilizing this weapon because this is the most weapon I had dupes on, not knowing that this was actually the better one. It's very good for like crowd control. I love that, and yeah, the damage output in terms of the enemy being weak to fire. It does its job. It truly does. So it increases damage of Purgatory by 50% and increases the MP consumption by 10%. It's not too bad. It's not that big of a deal. Obviously, I've got it maxed out, so I'm really getting my damage worth, of course. So when the user enters the stage, applies 20 stacks of Raging Black Flame and increases the cooldown of Purgatory by 5 seconds. Raging Black Flame increases the damage of Purgatory by 8% when the user uses Purgatory. 4 stacks are consumed, and this is infinite. Recovers MP equal to Raging Black Flame, stacks ×2 every 3 seconds, so that's countering the high consumption that goes up by, what was it, 10% I think it was. So there's that. And then when the user enters the stage, this is max it out. And when I did my summoning video, and when we pulled this, that's why I was overly happy. I was like, this is the one, this is all I needed. Okay. When the user enters the stage, applies 30 stacks of Raging Black Flame effect. So I'm now maximizing my Raging Black Flames for like 8% damage, or 8% increased damage from Purgatory, so we'll take it. But when it comes to fire, this is pretty much the weapon that realistically that you're looking out for in terms of the rest. So that's wind, that's lightning or light, and we've got fire out of the way. So when it comes to dark, in all honesty, I've had more success with the Orc's Broadsword over the Black Hawk. I mean, here's the thing, if you're good with the QTEs, and if you build up the QTEs, then fair play. I mean, yeah, Black Hawk ain't it. I mean, well, personally I haven't, so I really can't say if you build it up that nicely. But yeah, honestly, with the dark weapons, I would say the broadsword might be the best bet here. And then lastly, the water typing. Now, the water typing can go 2 ways, because obviously with the Venom Fang, that has come out of the woodwork in terms of the poison that it applies. Although, as of right now, because I do believe it will be patched where bosses will get poison resistance, because of course on the early access this weapon has come out of the woodworks and actually has become pretty OP in terms of bosses not having poison resistance. And so in like points battle situations, this has really stacked up on getting you a lot of points. So I'm not too sure, but I would go for the safe bet being the Frostbite sword. This one right here, boys, this is the beauty. This is the one. You can apply freeze, there's a 20% chance, but more importantly, if you at least get it to +1, you get that increased weakness attribute damage by 12%. It gives you range too, kind of fires a projectile, so it gives you kind of that safe room. But in terms of that water weapon, this is going to be the one where it's at, personally, from what I've experienced and what I've used. Obviously, the effects of Bitter Cold, Wind Change can be used up to 2 times, decreases cooldown by 3, of course, so that is the the projectile to apply the freeze and the was it erosion? Erosion. There you go. Boom. And then of course erosion can be stacked up to 2 times, so that's 24%. So that's basically giving you what the SSR weapon has. Just an FYI. So yeah, if you're in need of that water weapon, this is the sword is where it's at. So once again, just a quick little look over of everything. Wind, sniper. Light, bow. Water, sword. Fire, Eye of Sauron. And then dark, big sword. I wouldn't say that. Those are the weapons that we're predominantly looking for. Now, obviously the Lustrous Dragon Sword, that is still a great weapon. We'll love that. The Night Killer itself is also such a great weapon, so we love that. The Kasaka Venom Fang, that's still a decent weapon, so that's still... So these are like second place weapons, so if we do manage to pull them, then we've got our alternative choices, of course. So, but the ones that I've just picked off, with the specific typing, those are the SR weapons that I highly recommend you guys look into and work on, because I mean at the end of the day we've covered all typings. These are the weapons that are really freaking good in terms of fighting bosses, even now with like end game situations. I'm seeing people utilizing some of these weapons. Now the 2 best SR weapons, oh no, we'll say 3, we'll say two is going to be the sniper and the bow. The sniper and the bow are just on another level. In terms of starting my account, I am going to be hunting and praying for the sniper and the bow to pull up, because once I get those weapons, those are going to be my main weapons that I am going to be using in terms of SRs. I mean, of course, if you do get SSRs, then that's a whole different ball game. You guys know what to do. In terms of SRs, regardless, even if I do have SSRs, the sniper and the bow, work on them. Please work on them. In terms of covering typing, the sword, Eye of Sauron, work on those. I'm kind of lenient with the dark type purely because I know that we get the scythe for free, and the scythe is extremely good, so that's why there's a bit of a leanway in terms of the dark weapons, because they give us a free dark weapon on, you know, and it's one of the better ones in the SSR form. So that's kind of why I'm just kind of like, you can work on the dark SR weapons if you choose to, predominantly the sword, but I would say you kind of need it on that +3 situation with the broad Orc's broadsword. Unless it's multiple enemies, then you can make good use of that. Other than that, you might have to resort to the gun itself and make good use of the QTEs, of course, being the extreme evasion. Yeah, so hopefully your dodging is up to scratch. We'll say that. So yeah, a bit of a leeway on that. And yeah, the Fang itself, the Venom Fang, I don't know how things are going to be playing out in terms of global when it comes to the resistance that they'll apply, because again, right now, because they even made a post about it, how, you know, it was kind of overly broken in terms of the poison that we can just apply on all sorts of bosses, but it's still not bad, and it's still a war weapon, which I would say, because I mean we do get it at the very beginning, so it's something to kind of invest a little into, I would say. But yeah, when it comes to SR weapons, invest into the sniper and the bow. Those are your must. If you get the sword, if you get the Eye of Sauron, put some loving into those weapons, because they will be great coverage in terms of weapons and the typing that they are. Venom Fang, invest a little bit into in terms of utilizing the poison, but that's kind of where we're looking at. So once again, it's mainly the bow and the sniper in what you need to invest in. So yeah, SR weapons, those are going to be on my free-to-play weapons when I start my global account.